me extend the appreciation of the Senate to Mr. President, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, GCFR, for recently assenting to the bill establishing the first university of maritime services in Nigeria, in Okerenkuku in Delta State. We thank Mr. President and we wish the community well. And we pray that all who pass through that citadel of learning will have the best in future endeavors. While the new chairman on Senate committee on the previous committee she headed, which is local content, will be distinguished Senator Joel-Onowakpo of Delta State. So you will get together to ensure that this comes into effect immediately.
My name is Senator Joel-Onowakpo Thomas. I represent the good people of Delta South Neutral District. And as one who has served as the chairman of the Board of Internal Revenue and served in the Joint Tax Board and served as a member of the Appeal Tribunal, I want to say something about this. First, the idea that the minister should appoint a member from inside the board is not the right way to go. It's not the right way to go. The board and the people who are there, including the other persons who are going to form part of that board, are members of the civil service process. Then when you now take somebody from within again and put him there, then the cycle is complete. In audit, we say Timmy and lady. Then you have completed it. But if you bring somebody from outside to sit in that place, then you know that the game can never be the same. So this idea about let it be civil servant and rest of them, for me, I feel that for us to have a holistic approach, because the law itself is omnibus now, and the processes will bring about a lot of litigations. We don't want those who kill the ram at the same time divide it. Therefore, Mr. President, no, you see, the person should be appointed independently. It should be appointed independently. But Minister.
Long stay yesterday and the votes and proceedings. And the votes and proceedings, we don't have control over the machine, so sometimes they get very hot. Because it's over 10,000 pages. But be that as it may, we have as a first item the major valedictory speech, valedictory session in honor of one of Nigeria's icons, Edwin Clark. So we probably will be starting with that. But
distinguished colleagues, my name is Senator Joel-Onowakpo Thomas. I represent the good people of Delta South Neutral District. Mr. President, I want to thank the President, joining my senior colleague, Senator Dixon, to thank the Senate and the leadership of the Senate for giving our father this second opportunity to say our mind concerning one of us who served in this chamber. Secondly, I feel highly privileged to stand here as a senator representing Delta South, same neutral district that our father represented many years ago. It's like saying, the thrones of my forefather was handed to me at this time and at this age. Therefore, Mr. President, I want to say that I stand here to say something about the life and legacy of a man whose records of service is unprecedented. He was a school teacher at one time. He was a counselor at another time. He was a student unionist in Holborn College in the UK. He was a commissioner of education. He was a commissioner of finance. He was one time the NPN treasurer in Bender State, and he was a senator. Chief Edwin Clark is a statesman of uncommon courage, a patriot of indelible voice, a father of the Nigerian nation whose light shall not dim with death. He was born on the 25th day of May 1927 in Kiagbori in Delta State. Clark lived to the distinguished age of 97, each year marked by unwavering service for Nigeria, our people, and our founding ideals. He was a father to the Niger Delta struggle. Long before it became a national conversation, Chief Clark championed the cause for the oil-producing communities of the Niger Delta. He spoke for the voiceless. He demanded equity in revenue allocation. The resource control we hear about today started with people like our father, Ike Clark. He also began to champion the process for regional development that brought about the NDDC and the amnesty program. We cannot say enough about our father, but because in this same chamber, we have said a lot before this day, and it's in this chamber we have also proposed that for such a great man, there will be a need to immortalize his name. Therefore, I will say that I will conclude by making these few remarks. Ike Clark has departed, but his legacy is etched in the architecture of a modern Nigeria. From the halls of the University of Benin, where he served as a pro-chancellor, to the streets of Kiagbodo, where he built schools and inspired minds, including myself, his imprint is permanent. Let the records of this Senate reflect that a giant walked among us and bent his knees to lift the nation higher. On behalf of my distinguished colleagues and many from the Niger Delta and most grateful people of other parts of the world, I wish to extend our condolence to the family, the Ijaw nation, and all who mourn this irreparable loss. Ike Clark did not just witness history, he shaped it. May his soul find rest in the bosom of peace, and may his memory remind us that greatness lies in service. Thank you, Mr. President, and my distinguished colleagues for giving me the opportunity to speak.
Avalanche of tributes today. It clearly shows that the demise of your late patriarch, an icon, his sweat on earth definitely were not in vain. From the North Central, the very powerful remembrance by Senator Lalong of what I said he did when he was a federal commissioner. And even the proposition he brought forward of the handshake across the Niger that united our people, which is still on today in the minds of the people, clearly shows that the efforts that he made were and could never have been in vain. I'm saying this because I understand that just yesterday, one of the presidential aspirants in the last election, Peter Obi, His Excellency and former governor of Anambra, said that the labors of our leaders who have passed on were in vain. They were not in vain. The mere fact that Nigeria is still standing together shows clearly that their labors were not in vain. Very few countries that came up with the size of Nigeria are still together today. Many have been fragmented. Edwin Clark lived through the days of USSR, and they went into they scattered into various countries, and up till now, there is still war, trying to see whether they can come back together. Nigeria, despite our difficulties, God has kept us together because of the voices of people like Edwin Clark. So clearly, his labor and labors were not in vain. And for those in the social media who like to tweet, Nigeria has an unregulated social media system. So they let them wallow in it and then take a disadvantaged situation and propagate all sorts of falsehood and all sorts of narratives. Some of them in the social media were not even born when Edwin Clark was very active in service. And so they couldn't have known some of the things he did that we are remembering today. And yet, when somebody makes a statement that the labors of our heroes past are in vain, I beg to disagree. Let our brother Peter Obi show leadership like Edwin Clark did by resolving first the crisis in the Labour Party. For a man who wants to run Nigeria, you have one of the smallest parties in Nigeria, and you cannot even resolve the crisis in that Labour Party. Is it the crisis of Boko Haram that you will come and resolve in Nigeria? I would like us to be known for what we did when we had the opportunities. As I speak now, I can tell you about the dualized thoroughfares in my state. I can tell about the flyovers in my state. I can tell about the best international hospital in my state. I can tell you about the monuments of government houses that are built, both for the governor and deputy. I'm one of the best digitalized governor's office in Nigeria. I can tell you about the best international stadium in West Africa. I can tell you about the free and compulsory education that I did for all Nigerians. I can tell you about the unity I brought in religion by sponsoring over 5,800 Muslims to the Holy Land and over 12 to 15,000 Christians to Rome and to Jerusalem. But then, those who are aspiring as presidential candidates and trying to cause division with their mouths, using the social media, tell them to resolve the small crisis in the smallest party they have in Nigeria first, before they come to talk about the larger Nigeria. But for the social media, it is unregulated. I wish you luck as you have a field day. I'm saying this because this is what Edwin Clark would have advised if he were alive. So I've started to speak his voice. May his soul rest in perfect peace. And on that note, may we rise to observe 1 minute silence in honor of this icon. Let me, before we do so, just to recognize that while we're speaking, the leader of the House of Representatives, our brother, walked in from Niger Delta region, Professor Julius Ihombe. Leader, we are happy to see you, even though you are staying at the back. You should have come to the front. And of course, I didn't see him, but I've been told that right in front of us that we have the leader of Ijaw Nation, Professor Benjamin Okaba, who is the President General of Ijaw Nation. Okay, he's there. He's acknowledging Ijaw National Congress worldwide, not just for Nigeria, but all over the world. And I'm happy that you are part of this delegation. But we now, all together, give 1 minute silence in honor of this departed icon. May the great soul of our Edwin Clark, who gave his all in the service of the Niger Delta people, the minorities of Nigeria, the Nigeria as a nation, rest in perfect peace. Leader of the Senate.
Senator Zam.
Distinguished senators, please allow the
President, very distinguished senators, the third business of the day is the presentation of a bill standing in the name of most distinguished Senator Joel-Onowakpo Thomas on the Federal Oil and Gas Hospital Benin Kru Establishment Bill 2025 SB 847. Mr. President, you may wish to invite the Clerk of the Senate to read the short title of the bill.
Distinguished senators, Federal Oil and Gas Hospital Benin Kru Establishment Bill 2025 SB 847, first reading.
Federal Oil and Gas Hospital Benin Kru Establishment Bill 2025 SB 847, first reading taken. the Leader of the Senate.
Sponsors of the bill are Senate Leader, Senate Minority Leader, Senator Joel-Onowakpo Thomas. Distinguished colleagues, permit me to lead the debate of these very important bills which seek to amend the Agricultural Research Council of Nigeria Act, Cap A12, Laws of the Federation of Nigeria 2004, to make provisions for the establishment of the following colleges. 2. Federal College of Aquatic Studies, Ole, Delta State. 3. Agriculture and Technology, Opialu, Ojabo, Benue State. Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, the establishment of these colleges signify a bold step towards not only addressing the educational needs of the populace, but it will also serve as training ground for the development of agriculturists in the country. Agriculture with its allied sectors is unquestionably the largest livelihood provider, more also in the rural areas, and can contribute significantly to the GDP. Demand for agricultural products is rising rapidly with increase in population and per capita income and growing demand from industrial sector. The proposed colleges will provide the holistic development of agriculture and tropical knowledge and skills, and the telescopic vision on the future that will help them contribute to the acceleration of agricultural growth and enhance farmers' income and generate employment in the sector. This will give the students a platform to enable the country to achieve self-sufficiency in food, reduce poverty, and bring economic transformation to millions of rural families. The objectives of these bills, among other things, are to encourage the advancement of learning and to hold out to all persons without distinction of race, creed, sex, or political conviction the opportunity of acquiring tertiary education in agriculture, fisheries, aquatic, and tropical studies. To act as agents and catalysts through postgraduate training, research, and innovation for the effective and economic utilization, exploitation, and conservation of the country's agricultural resources, and to offer to the general population, particularly in the area of agriculture and tropical studies, as a form of public service, the results of training and research, and to foster the practical applications of these results. Mr. President, my highly respected colleagues, the establishment of these colleges respectively are crucial towards unlocking the full potentials of Nigeria's agricultural resources, as well as improve economic activities in these areas and environs. In line with our Order 76 of 3, the compendia of financial implications are hereby attached for the respective bills. It is in view of this and many more valid points that cannot be exhausted in this short debate that I urge you, Mr. President and distinguished colleagues, to please support these bills and recommend their accelerated passage. I thank you.
For an act to amend the Agricultural Research Council of Nigeria Act Number 1, 2025, and to make provision for the change of name of the college from Federal College of Agricultural Technology, Opianu, Ojapo, Benue State, to Federal College of Agriculture and Technology, Opialu, Ojapo, Benue State, and for related matters, 2025, SB 864, second reading.
A bill for an act to amend the Agricultural Research Council of Nigeria Act, Cap A12, Laws of the Federation of Nigeria 2004, to make provision for the establishment of Federal College of Fisheries and Aquatic Sciences, EMEDA, Isoko South, Delta State, and for related matters, 2025, second reading, SB 105, second reading taken. A bill for an act to amend the Agricultural Research Council of Nigeria Act number 2025, number 1, 2025, to make provision for the change of name of the college from Federal College of Agricultural Technology, Opialu, Ojapo, Benue State, to Federal College of Agriculture and Technology, Opialu, Ojapo, Benue State, and 4 related matters. 2025 second reading. 2025 SB 864 second reading taken. The Leader of the Senate. These bills are referred to the Committee on Agricultural Colleges and Institutions to report back to the Senate within 1 week. Leader of the Senate.
I represent the number of Delta South Mr. Chairman and distinguished colleagues, I want to join my voice with everybody who has spoken in this place by commending the Minister of the Federal Capital Territory for the good job that you have done in only 2 years. Not even 2 years. I want to say again that, like I've always said categorically, and I also share that sentiment with you, that government, it is a continuous process. And I also believe that there is no single government that can solve all the regimes of problems in a country. And I can see that we are making efforts, like I've already said. If you look at the budget of 1.7 trillion, most of it is dedicated to completing abandoned projects for over 15 years. Who does that? Who does that? So therefore, I want to say, Mr. Chairman, we have committed let us agree here. The minister has performed very well. Yes. Therefore, me on my own, on behalf of my colleagues, I will move. I will move to PDB that the minister to be commended and allowed to go and do his work.
And finally, distinguished Senator Joel-Onowakpo, 27th day of April. On behalf of the Senate, I want to wish these distinguished senators I've mentioned happy birthday, long life, prosperity, and many more years of service to our fatherland. Congratulations to all of you.
Distinguished colleagues, the lead debate on a bill for an act to establish the Federal Oil and Gas Hospital in Krukru, Delta State, to provide for comprehensive medical services for workers in the oil and gas industry as well as communities affected by oil and gas explorations. Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, it is my profound delight and honor to lead the debate on the general principles of the Federal Oil and Gas Hospital Establishment Bill 2025 SB 847. The bill was read for the first time on June 24th, 2025. The bill seeks to, among other things, establish the Federal Oil and Gas Hospital to provide for comprehensive medical services for workers in the oil and gas industry, as well as communities affected by oil and gas operations and explorations. The overriding objectives of the bills are: 1, provide specialized medical services for workers involved in oil and gas operations and explorations in the country as well as their host communities. 2, to ensure that workers in the oil and gas industry and their host communities have unhindered access to adequate and quality healthcare services and facilities. 3, reduce health risks associated with oil and gas operations and exploration by providing specialized medical services. 4, siting this hospital in this location will make healthcare and other emergency services accessible to the communities around crude oil installations, which was either not available all these years because of the peculiar terrain. 5, the siting of this hospital will to a large extent tame the agitations and restiveness in the Niger Delta. 6, provide a wide range of emergency care occupational health services, and treatment for oil and gas-related illness and injuries to help increasing productivity by reducing downtime in oil and gas industry. 7, develop sustainable sources of funding for the hospital without placing financial burden on the federal government. Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, it might interest you to know that workers in the oil and gas industry vis-a-vis the host communities are often exposed to all manners of hazards as a result of oil and gas exploration activities, leading to terminal illnesses and injuries that would require the operational expertise of specialized medical personnel, skilled in occupational health and environmental medicine to handle. Therefore, the establishment of this proposed hospital will not only be beneficial to the workers and the host communities, but would go a long way to addressing some of the agitations in Niger Delta region. This will invariably improve exploration activities in the region for the socio-economic development of this country. It will interest you to know that the Delta South Neutral District has the highest offshore crude oil production in Delta State and second in the country. And more specifically, the location indicated for this project is in the very heart of offshore oil exploration in the Niger Delta. This project will benefit oil companies and communities in Delta State, not also that this location is home to many crude oil exploration activities of Chevron, in Escavos, Shell, ExxonMobil, Total, Nigerian Ajib Oil Company, etc. It is imperative to note, Mr. President, and my dear colleagues, that the funding of this proposal has been structured in a way and manner that it would not pose additional financial burden on the treasury of the federal government. This is in view of the fact that the proposed hospital will be funded by the Nigerian Content Development and Monitoring Board. For clarity, the NCDMB, as currently constituted, is not directly funded by the federal government. This board relies on revenue derived from 1% of every contract awarded to any operator, contractor, subcontractor, alliance partners, or any other entity involved in any project in the oil and gas industry. As such, this hospital is intended to be funded from the proceeds of such revenue as well. Finally, Mr. President and distinguished colleagues, in compliance with Order 76, Section 3 of the Senate Standing Order 2023, as amended, the passage of this proposed bill will not pose additional financial burden on the treasury of the federal government, as I foresaid in the reasons adduced above. Thank you for listening.
Senator Dixon, this is going to be cited in the
Henry Sirake Dixon by Elsa West. I'll be very brief, but thank you for recognizing me. Not only is this proposed medical hospital to be cited in the Niger Delta, it's actually it's proposed to be cited in the heart of the oil and gas business in the Joland. So it's also representing our people there. And I want to begin by commending him for sponsoring this bill. And this is the right thing to do. So, Mr. President, I rise not only to second it, and also to briefly urge that we pass this bill to get through the next stage of the legislative process, because this is the right thing to do. There is need to beef up the medical, educational infrastructure in that area. So I so second. Thank you.
Colleagues, Ide Dafinone representing Delta Central. I rise to support the second reading of the bill sponsored by my friend, brother, and colleague, Senator Joel-Onowakpo Thomas, and would wish to highlight just 3 points quickly in view of the limited time available. The first is that the facility will be sited in Warri Southwest, which is an area that dominates the coastal, offshore, especially production of oil and gas in Delta South. So it is sited in an ideal area. Secondly, sir, the facility provides support for oil and gas injuries in particular, and there is no alternative nearby remedy for injuries in the oil and gas industry. So again, it is very well cited. Thirdly, and this is just for emphasis, Senator Thomas has said that the funding is coming from the Nigerian Content Development Monitoring Board, which means that there is no additional pressure on the funding of the federal government. I think this is ideal, sir, and I firmly support the establishment of this oil and gas hospital. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. Is anybody against be now ready second time? Please say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. The clerk of the Senate.
Distinguished senators, I bill for an act to establish the Federal Oil and Gas Hospital, Benikuruku, Delta State, to provide for comprehensive medical services for workers in the oil and gas industry, as well as communities affected by oil and gas operations and exploration, and for related matters 2025, second reading.
A bill for an act to establish the Federal Oil and Gas Hospital, Benikuruku, Benikuruku, Delta State, to provide for comprehensive medical services for workers in the oil and gas industry, as well as communities affected by oil and gas operations and explorations, and for related matters, second reading, thinking. The bill is referred to the Committee on Health, Secondary and Tertiary to report within 4 weeks. Let me commend Senator Joel for bringing forward this bill. This bill, by its nature, is a bill that will touch on the well-being of the people of the area who are really in need of a very, very advanced medical facility to take care of their health issues. It will enhance the health care delivery system of the area. Of course, it is said that health is wealth. So it's something that is highly required in that area, and Senator Joel is living up to his position as a good representative of the people. And this is what everyone should do. Look at the plight of people and try to bring forward bills that will deal with their matters, that will alleviate their problems, that will help them, particularly in the areas of health, education, and so on and so forth. Health is quite very important. So we commend you, and you should continue on this part of helping your people at all times. Thank you, and I commend you on the behalf of the Senate. Senator Joel, more grace to your elbow. The leader of the Senate.
Development, especially as the colleges will boost agricultural development in the country. That the bill conforms to normative drafting standards, and that the establishment of the colleges will serve as incentive to encourage agricultural practices in the respective area. Before I go into the recommendation, there are just corrections, minor corrections there. And those minor corrections are especially on page 2, where there is reference to Isoko. Instead of Isoko, it is Emede. And then on page 3,
no, spell. Instead of Isoko, it's
Emede is
spell.
E-M-E-D-E.
Okay, proceed.
Isoko South Local Government, yes, Mr. President. And so, to the recommendations. The committee, having considered the proposed bills and taking into account their relevance to the development of this country, hereby recommends that the Senate do consider and pass the Agricultural Research Council of Nigeria Act Amendment Bill 2025 SBS 3939/105/144/7 464 and 734, and the Federal Universities of Agriculture Act Amendment Bill 2025, SB 596. I so move, Mr. President.
The Senior Senator Igbizagba. Joel, is he made in Isoko? Okay. I don't want the people of Isoko to think that we hijacked the bill in the air. So I'll take it again. A bill for an act to amend the Agricultural Research Council of Nigeria Act to establish the Federal College of Fisheries and Aquatic Sciences in Mede, Isoko, Delta State, and for other related matters, 2025, third reading taken and passed.
The contributions made so far to this motion. On that prayer 3, there's a national burial committee already set up, headed by Senator Steve Zunaso as chairman, and so many members, some of them from this Senate as well.
Ms. Senator Joel-Onowakpo Thomas. I represent the good, vibrant people of Delta South Natural District. Mr. Chairman, I am greatly worried by the non-appearance of the CEO of NNPC. This is not the first time. This is not the first time a meeting like this is called, and we senators will attend, and the CEO of the NNPC will not be present to resolve the issues that we have raised against him. Mr. Chairman, I want to say categorically that one of the reasons for the huge decay in our society can be attributed to lack of proper oversight. And in a country like ours, where there is a clear separation of power, and one of the powers that we have is the power of oversight. Oversight in the sense that money appropriated for any particular venture, it's our duty to see that that money is used judiciously. And if NNPC, the CEO, has issues to answer to this committee, and for several invitations have refused to come, Mr. Chairman, you don't need a soothsayer to say that there is something wrong. You don't need a soothsayer to say that there's something wrong, or there's something NNPC is trying to hide. This is no longer a mere coincidence. This has become a repeated action to evade answering questions regarding issues that have been raised against them. And Mr. Chairman, another troubling observation is that I'm beginning to think that the NNPC CEO is thinking that it's bigger than this committee and does not have any business to appear before the Committee on Public Accounts. And I think if that is what he has in his mind, it's a very erroneous perspective. Mr. Chairman, like one of my colleagues have just said, distinguished Senator Ume, who have invited him severally, I personally have come for this sitting for the 4th time, and he has not come. And I believe that he has made up his mind not to come, because he cannot say that he is busy all the time we give him invitation, just that he has not taken our invitation as a priority. So I'm also thinking that there's never a time that will be invited, that he will come. Never a time. Never a time. Perhaps, Mr. Chairman, we need to invoke our rights, our powers within the rule books and do what is necessary. And another gateway for him, Mr. Chairman, perhaps, is for the committee to formally write him and let him give us a date within a specific period of time to appear before this committee. Mr. Chairman, I can see my colleagues shaking their head that that suggestion is not okay. So I rest my case on that, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. President, my distinguished colleagues, the report on a bill for an act to establish the Federal Oil and Gas Hospital, Beni Kurukuru, Delta State, 2025, SB 847. The Senate of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, at its sitting on Tuesday, 8th of July, 2025, read for a second time the bill for an act to establish the Federal Oil and Gas Hospital, Beni Kurukuru, Delta State, 2025 SB 847, and referred same to the Committee on Health, Secondary and Tertiary for further legislative action. This bill, sponsored by Senator Joel-Onowakpo Thomas of Delta South, seeks to, among other things, establish the Federal Oil and Gas Hospital to provide for comprehensive medical services for workers in the oil and gas industry, as well as communities affected by oil and gas operations and explorations. In carrying out this assignment, the committee adopted all the requisite methodology. The bill received overwhelming support from a wide array of stakeholders at the public hearing. Mr. President, my distinguished colleagues, it is on record that workers in the oil and gas industry, most especially the host communities, are often exposed to all manner of hazards resulting from gas exploration activities. These workers and the host communities face the challenges of terminal illnesses, cancer, injuries requiring the attention of medical expertise, specialized medical personnel, skilled occupational health, and environmental medicine. The neglect of these groups has led to the emergence of agitations and restive activities in the Niger Delta region, thereby hampering socio-economic development of the region in particular and the country at large. The hospital's proposed location is Delta State, home to many crude oil exploration activities in the Niger Delta. The hospital will provide specialized medical services for workers involved in oil and gas operations and explorations in the country, as well as their host communities, by providing unhindered access to adequate and quality health care services and facilities. The hospital will provide a wide range of emergency care, occupational health services, and will reduce downtime in medical attention and treatment. Mr. President, my distinguished colleagues, after a clause-by-clause consideration of the bill, the committee recommends that the bill be approved as recommended. The committee greatly appreciates the President of the Senate, the Deputy President of the Senate, and the entire Senate leadership, and all my distinguished colleagues for the opportunity given to us to serve in this capacity. I hereby submit. Thank you, sir.
Senator Chief Benson Agabaga is my name. I represent the good people of Bayelsa East Senatorial District in Bayelsa State. I rise, Mr. President, to second the motion that this bill, as read by my colleague, distinguished Senator Ipalibo Harry, be accepted and made to go for the next reading. This bill is important because it goes to solve the problems of members of the host communities where oil and gas are being exploited. The workers of the companies, when they are sick, they are flown by helicopters and other fast means to take them to places of healing. But the natives always suffer from negligence. And therefore, this bill is apt, is very appropriate, and I feel that it should be given an accelerated, given the approval of the flight or the speed of light.
So you have no objection?
Excellency?
You have no objection?
No objection. I support the bill. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you. The Leader of the Senate.
Distinguished colleagues, I rise to move that the Senate now resolve to a committee of the whole for further consideration of this report. I so move.
The Minority Leader.
Distinguished colleagues, I rise to second the motion as moved by Senate Leader that we move to committee of whole. I so second.
This is the committee of the whole to continue the proceedings. Those in support say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have. Federal Oil and Gas Hospital Beni Kruku Establishment Bill 2025 SB 847. Those in support of the long title on page 1 form part of the bill say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Those in support of clauses 2 to 7 form part of the bill say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Those in support of clauses 8 to 15 form part of the bill say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Those in support of clauses 16 to 18, including the interpretation clause, form part of the bill say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Those in support of the short title on clause 19 form part of the bill say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. The explanatory memorandum on page 19. Those in support that this form part of the bill say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Leader of the Senate. The Senate in the Committee of the Whole considered the report of the Committee on Health, Secondary and Tertiary on the Federal Oil and Gas Hospital Berinkruku Establishment Bill 2025 and approved as follows. Long title as recommended. Number of clauses 1 to 17 as recommended. Interpretation clause on clause 18 as recommended. Short title on clause 19 as recommended. Explanatory memorandum as recommended. Is this a true reflection of what transpired in the Committee of the Whole? Leader of the Senate. Leader of the Senate. May wish to move that.
Thank you, Mr. President. I rise to move that the bill be now read for the third time. Thank you.
Minority Leader.
Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, I rise to
this bill be now read a third time. Say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Clerk of the Senate.
President, distinguished senators, a bill for an act to establish the Federal Oil and Gas Hospital, Benikrukru, Delta State, to provide for comprehensive medical services for workers in the oil and gas industry, as well as communities affected by oil and gas operations and exploration, and for related matters 2025, third reading.
Distinguished colleagues, a bill for an act to provide for the establishment of the Federal Oil and Gas Hospital in Benikrukru, Warri Southwest Local Government Area of Delta State, to provide comprehensive medical services to workers in the oil and gas industry, as well as to communities affected by oil and gas operations and for related matters 2025. Bill taken for the third time. Distinguished colleagues, a bill for an act to provide for the establishment of the Federal Oil and Gas Hospital in Benikrukru, Warri Southwest Local Government Area of Delta State, to provide comprehensive medical services to workers in the oil and gas industry, as well as to communities affected by oil and gas operations and for related matters, third reading taken and passed. So I want to thank distinguished Senator Banigu and members of the committee that worked on this, and to congratulate the good people of Benikrukru in Warri Southwest Local Government Area of Delta State for this comprehensive medical center that will cater for those suffering, that will cater for those in the oil and gas industry, as well as communities adjoining the hospital premises. And pray that this will lead to a healthier society, a much more convenient and health-wise environment, and also thank our distinguished colleagues for their contributions up to this stage of the bill. I thank you all for your contributions, and may God bless the good people of Warri, the good people of Delta State, and Nigeria as a whole for this initiative.
To this meeting of the local content, the Senate Committee on Local Content, arising from the closed door session of the committee, we are under obligation to make this public to the press. As you are aware, this committee is charged with the responsibility of ensuring compliance with the local content laws, including pronouncements and regulations. For emphasis, in line with the provisions of the Nigerian Oil and Gas Industry Content Act 2020, the Presidential Order Number 5, 2018, as well as Nigerian Affairs Policy on Local Content, all stakeholders are expected to ensure strict compliance with local content laws and regulations across board, in line with the renewed hope agenda of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. We are currently reviewing complaints submitted by local operators in the oil and gas sector, as well as local operators in the non-oil sector, regarding poor compliance with local content requirements by the various organizations. These complaints relate to the award and the execution of contracts, program implementation, project delivery, technology transfer obligations, and local workforce development. We are also reviewing the Nigerian content plan submitted by oil and gas companies, the non-oil and gas companies, and government agencies regarding their contract awards, projects and programs, technology transfer commitments, human capital development, local equipment sourcing, and local manufacturing. We are also investigating issues of delayed development of local capacity in fabrication, engineering, marine operations, research and development, and manufacturing. Under investment in local workforce training and job creation, as well as means opportunity for domestic advancement in engineering technology. We have noted with concern slow implementation and enforcement of local content policies, which has placed Nigerians at disadvantage in achieving self-reliance, inclusive growth, and industrialization. This undermines our ability to create jobs, retain value within the country, and build competitive local capacity. We are ready more than ever to correct these abnormalities wherever they exist. We are currently undertaking a comprehensive review of all current waivers, content plans, and compliance framework. We are engaging with relevant agencies, companies, and stakeholders to assess impact and ensure alignment with national development priorities and enforcement of sanctions where necessary against organizations, companies, and officials who have been negligent or complicit in violating the local content laws and regulations. The general public, local contractors, and all stakeholders in both the oil and gas and non-oil sectors are encouraged to submit information and reports on local content violations and assist the committee in its constitutional duty and oversight function to defend national economic interests and protect opportunities for Nigerian citizens. We will also do the needful to highlight, sanction, and bring to book any officer who have been negligent in failing to ensure full compliance with our content laws and regulations. For your complaints, we have created a website, www.senatechairmanlocalcontent.ng, emails, complaints@senatechairmanlocalcontent.ng for those complaints that they may wish to put their names and their addresses. Then the second one is whistleblowers@senatechairmanlocalcontent.ng. These are for people who want to submit information anonymously to the committee, especially for workers in those companies who have seen violations and for several years have been looking for a way and looking for help within the Nigerian system to protect their jobs. We also have telephone numbers where you can call and give your complaints to see that opportunities for our people are not missed. The numbers are 0805 093 4767. I repeat, 0805 093 4767. The second one is 0805 1022 462. I repeat, 0805 1022 462. These are the numbers that people can call to report violations in this regard. As a committee and as a Senate, charged with the responsibility of local content, we are fully committed to promoting industrial growth, technology transfer, workforce development, and job creation through strict enforcement of the NOGIC Act, the Presidential Executive Order No. 5, and the Nigerian First Policy, and all applicable regulations. We will continue to do everything necessary to protect the Nigerians' economic future. And like I would say, protecting the Nigerians' economic future is the only way to go right now. We cannot as a committee and as a country, cry of unemployment in our communities for our graduates when our jobs are being taken by expatriates. We must ensure that jobs that are going to be taken by expatriates do not have the local capacity. And doing this, we believe that will create employment opportunities and work opportunities for our people. Thank you, and God bless you. I will yield.
Up to people before now, the current local content law. In all of this, one thing has been clear that government after government has emphasized the need for us to ensure as a people that we don't have a situation where our engineers are going abroad due to lack of unemployment, so due to lack of employment, to go and do many jobs like restaurants and working and cleaning railway stations, while technicians are coming from various parts of the country and they are employed and invoiced as if they were engineers. Now it will require that we show political will, and in the case of the Senate, we exercise our oversight powers to compel all employers to obey these laws. And it is not going to be achieved only by sermon. My experience has taught me one thing: what people do that profit them, you can't sermonize them out of it. But with the combined power of enlightenment and sanction, I emphasize sanction, people will understand that these laws are meant to be obeyed. When the president signed an executive order, it's not a love letter. It is an order, as they proclaim. So I think working with you, sir, Committee on Interior, and also as a member of this committee, I'm very proud of what you have said and your total commitment and the commitment of all my distinguished brothers and sister senators. And I think for the media, what we expect you to help us do is to let Nigerians know that they don't need to lament away what is not right. They should draw our attention as representative of the Nigerian people in the National Assembly to what is not right in their respective places. Because you can have all the laws prescribing all the rights. If when those rights are violated, people don't report, then of course the rights are there, but they are not, they are observed more in the breach. So what this Senate is wanting to do, as enumerated by our chairman here, is that we are determined now that any employer that employ foreigners to do jobs that Nigerians can do, this Senate will do what it has to do under the law to bring those employers to justice. And even the job that Nigerians can do, I am not quite sure now if there's any job that Nigerians can do. Nigerians are working in space and other high-tech industries, not only in US, around the world. There is no sector you will find in Nigeria. So even to suggest that there are jobs we can't do, the only in the manner of speaking. In truth, there is nothing we can do. And if before it was a luxury, now it is compelling, because to have young, trained people idle is very, very dangerous. So working together, I think we also need to take this message to our colleague in the, our people in the Ministry of Interior, to order the able Minister of Interior, who is himself a young and energetic and very committed young man, that working together, we have to persuade the immigration not to grab visas to expatriates to come and stay, renew a job that Nigeria can do for 10, 20 years, they keep renewing until they retire, then they bring their children and they continue from there. So if there's one thing we have to learn, and I will refrain from mentioning any particular country, from countries that are using visa as a measure of control, it is that even we, to visit some countries, we are being restricted. Why are we then being extremely generous to a point of recklessness by allowing people to come and work in Nigeria, taking the job that Nigerians can do? This is unacceptable, and you have shown leadership, and I'm sure our views here reflect the commitment of the Senate, other Senator Joel-Onowakpo, the Senate President, to collaborate with the executive to ensure that Nigeria jobs are reserved for Nigerians and no more. Right now, there are foreigners who are, some are probably evil prisoners, working in industries, some selling bread, working on granites, and very many are jobs in the construction sector. And those are the high labor intensive industries that our people should be able to do. And they come in, Sometimes they work and Nigerians teach them the job, but because of their color, they take higher pay as if they are engineers, and those Nigerians take pay as if they are just paupers. So I think we are in it, and we plead with the media to help us sustain this campaign so that Nigeria should not feel that they are helpless. The Senate is here to hear, to listen, and where possible to bite, because the laws provide for all of that. Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman, for the opportunity.
Delta Central. I just want to add some emphasis to the chairman's presentation. The direction of the committee is to widen the spread of local content, to empower more significantly our local contractors and our young men and women who are looking for employment within the country and having the necessary skills to do such jobs. What we are offering here is a fast track that enables petitions and complaints to be received by this committee, where we will be able to investigate and see how we can rectify any disadvantages our contractors and potential employees have suffered. So just for emphasis again, the portal is at www.senatechairmanlocalcontent.ng, where various information on the Nigeria First Policy, Presidential Directive number 5 and the NOGIC Act will be available. And then emails to receive petitions and complaints and whistleblowers at complaints@senatechairmanlocalcontent.ng. And then for whistleblowers, whistleblower@senatechairmanlocalcontent.ng. So we're looking forward to receiving as many petitions and complaints as possible that will enable us to rectify the position and get more contracts, more jobs for our local companies and brothers and sisters. Thank you.
Covered a lot of areas. I am Senator Dr. Banigo. I represent Rivers West Sectorial District. I'm also the chairman of the Committee on Health, Secondary and Tertiary. And I'm a member of this committee. As members of this committee, we are pained by the slow implementation of the local content laws. Very slow implementation, really no sanctions happening, and we believe that by all-round oversight of the sectors, we'll be able to mitigate some of these issues. Because what are we benefiting from local content policies at the moment? We are not really benefiting anything. We are not having the economic diversification. We are not having the technology transfer innovation. We are not having job creation. We are not having sustainable development. So something definitely is wrong. And so I go along with the chairman and our members, my distinguished colleagues, that we need to rethink, and doing this in the various ways that he has mentioned definitely will help us to improve on indigenous participation. On indigenous participation. Yes, it will help us to improve on indigenous participation, not just in the oil and gas industries, but in all the mature industries across the country. Even in the areas of contracts, we need to give them to our people who have the capacity, and we do have our people who have the capacity. It's just that they have not been given those opportunities, maybe because the laws are there, but the implementation has been slow, and there have been slack, and there has not been enough oversight, and there have not been sanctions where those things should be. So we're going to work with all the various sides of elements that will make sure that we see a definite improvement in local content, because we need to maximize the economic benefits that are attached to it. We We need to ensure that our young people have jobs. We need to create jobs for them. We need to create employment for them. Many of them are running away because they are not finding those jobs, and they are very qualified. And they go overseas, like my brother, His Excellency said, and they do all kinds of menial jobs. They don't go there because they just want to go there. They go there because of frustration, and they end up getting more frustrated there. It's not as green as it looks on the other side. So we need to be deliberate about making sure that our local content laws are, really are seen to work for our people, for the good of our people. So I'd like to request you to please ensure that the information that we are giving you at this press release, especially the information on the website and the phone numbers, you help us to disseminate them. And we would like to ask the public to please trust us on this and see that there will definitely be a change in times to come as we commit ourselves to this much more all-round and robust oversight for the good of our people. Thank you very much.
Like rightly said, we are here for a national assignment. This meeting is long overdue. We were supposed to meet some time ago. However, because of clashes of program, we could not hold that. The good news that we are here. There was another attempt to abort this collaborative meeting because of clash of programs again. Members of the local content committee who had intended to visit would have been more than this. But unfortunately, after we have agreed on this date, the NEC meeting for the All Progressive Congress was scheduled for today. So most of our members that would have been here, they attended the NEC meeting. And in order not to disappoint you again, we decided to come and meet you. What we have brought to you is very important, and time is of an essence. My name once again is Senator Joel-Onowakpo Thomas. By the special grace of God, I am the Chairman, Senate Committee on Local Content. And my speech today, I have titled it, Strengthening the Backbone of Nigeria's Economy. Senate Committee on Local Content reaffirm our support to President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, GCFRO, commitment to job creation, workers' welfare, and national industrial growth to support the renewed hope agenda of this administration. The President of the Nigerian Labour Congress, the Senate Committee on Local Content reaffirms its unwavering support to President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, GCFRO, commitment to the empowerment of Nigerian workers, the expansion of decent job opportunities, and the localization of economic benefits across the oil and gas, science, engineering, and broader industrial sectors with the recent announcement of the Nigeria First policy. Our initiatives are rooted in the understanding that the dignity of labor and the resilience of the Nigerian economy are directly linked to how well we protect, empower, and prioritize our workforce. As the legislative oversight body driving compliance with the Nigerian oil and gas industry, with the Content Development Act, Executive Order 5, and the President's Nigerian First policy, we are intensifying efforts to ensure that the Nigerians are not bystanders, but key players and beneficiaries in their own economy. At the center of the renewed hope agenda of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu lies the Nigerian worker, represented and defended by the Nigerian Labour Congress. I want to commend you for the work you are doing for the Nigerian Labour Congress and for the Nigerian workers. You know, it was during your time that, and during the time of this president, that the minimum wage has been adjusted. This address is both an affirmation of our purpose and a direct invitation to the Nigerian Labour Congress to join forces with the committee in a long-term partnership designed to deepen local content enforcement and create meaningful jobs for millions of Nigerian citizens. We cannot continue to lament that there is unemployment when within this economy people are aiding and abetting, violating the local content law provisions in the country. Nigerian Labour as the foundation of national development. Nigerian Labour Congress remains a critical pillar of Nigeria's democratic and economic evolution. From the refineries to the power grids, from public infrastructure to the manufacturing floor, Nigerian workers are the engine room of our collective progress. The Senate Committee on Local Content recognizes this, and we assert unequivocally that local content enforcement is ultimately about the Nigerian workers. The NOJIT Act of 2010, one of the most transformative laws for economic nationalism, aimed to ensure that Nigerians are prioritized in employment, procurement, and service delivery. Section 28 to Section 37 of the Act mandate operators to submit and implement employment and training plans that ensure Nigerian nationals occupy roles across all levels: junior, intermediate, and management. For emphasis, I read, for each of its operations, the operator shall submit to the board a succession plan for any position not held by Nigerians. At the end of the 4-year period, the position shall become Nigerianized. That is Section 31, subsection 1 of the NOJIC Act. This singular provision is a direct assurance to workers and NLC, Nigerian Labour Congress. The government is legally committed to ensuring Nigerians are given opportunity when they are qualified to lead. Executive Order, Presidential Order 5, localizing procurement and technology for workers' prosperity. Signed in 2018 by President Muhammad Buhari, GCFR. Executive Order number 5 is a landmark policy directive that extends local content enforcement beyond oil and gas into science, technology, engineering, and other procurement-heavy sectors. The goal is to promote Nigerian professionals, Nigerian goods, and Nigerian services in all public contracts. Section 1 of the Executive Order states, all procuring authorities shall give preference to Nigerian companies and firms in the award of contracts, and ensure that their expertise is, and ensure that where expertise is lacking, procuring entities will give preference to foreign companies and firms with a demonstrable and verifiable plan for indigenous capacity development. This is a bold nationalistic policy that will reduce capital flight, create jobs, and stimulate local industries. For the Nigerian worker, it means more projects will be awarded to companies that employ Nigerians, source raw materials locally, and transfer of skills. The committee's commitment is not limited to employment numbers. We are equally interested in improving the welfare, workplace safety, and long-term career viability of Nigerian workers. Section 35 to Section 39 of the NOJIT Act mandate operators to invest in training, research and human capital development. These provisions are not ornamental, they are actionable legal standards. And I want to quote it. All operators shall employ only Nigerians in their junior and intermediate cadre. An operator shall carry out a program and make expenditure for the promotion of education, attachment, training, research and development in Nigeria. That's section 37. This statutory mandate reflects our shared priority with the Nigerian Labour Congress to upskill the Nigerian workforce and ensure they are not expendable but competitive. I'm here to call for a strategic collaboration with the Nigerian Labour Congress. We recognize the Nigerian Labour Congress not only as a watchdog, but as a thought leader in advancing socio-economic rights. As such, we are ready to work with the Nigerian Labour Congress to ensure that Nigerian workers are not just numbers in our workplace, but real people with voice, dignity, and rising standard of living. Protecting the future of workers in Nigeria. The Senate Committee is mindful of the evolving dynamic of work as global industry embraces artificial intelligence, automation, and remote delivery models. We must ensure Nigerian labor is not displaced but repositioned. Executive Order number 5 encourages innovation but anchors it firmly in local ownership and capacity development. These include the promotion of Nigerian startup in engineering and tech, the localization of software and platform services, the creation of incubation hubs in oil and gas host communities for youth engagement. These innovations, guided by the local content framework, will ensure that tomorrow's jobs are not offshored but grounded in Nigeria. We call on the Nigerian Labour Congress to lend its voice and mind to the cause of the Nigerian content law. Let us jointly advocate for the full enforcement of the local content laws, not as a favor to workers, but as a duty to our nation. Growing local capacity is a sure way to creating employment for our teeming graduates and artisans. As industrial operators, we cannot blame the federal government for the unemployment when we are the one aiding and abetting those who are determined to bypass the law. For example, when immigration quotas are issued to expatriates to come into this country to work, there are guidelines. They are not expected to stay here forever. They are expected to work here, train our Nigerians, and take over those jobs. But what we see today is that process is abused. You can see expatriate quota being issued to a father who came in here and transferred to a son and to a grandson still working in Nigeria without creating capacity for the Nigerian worker. We all have a shared responsibility. We have to actively be seen to support this government initiative to create massive employment for our people. Never again, Mr. President, under your watch, will jobs made for our people be outsourced to expatriates. Let us unite to end the exploitation of Nigerian labor, ensure equity in pay and promotion, prioritize local employment in all government and private contracts, build a Nigeria where every worker has a future worth fighting for. The committee is ready. The laws are on our side. What remains is the resolve and the partnership. Together we can secure the prosperity of Nigerian workers and build a strong, more resilient nation in support of this administration. Mr. President, this is all I have, and this is why I've come to seek your partnership, that together we can live our names clear. Thank you, and God bless you.
These are patriotic issues. But let me say, this meeting or this interaction should not be a one-off thing. You know, we have to work collaboratively until we achieve success. I think that's the first step to be taken. The Nigerian worker is, or the NLC is the watchdog, and the Senate has oversight functions. Now, if we bring this together, I think we are going to achieve much. The greatest problem Nigeria has is not a problem of laws or good laws. It's a problem of enforcement of such laws. You raise a vital point on the issue of aiding and abetting the violation of these local content laws. And the question is, who is involved in this violation? You know, it's important, either from the airport when people are arriving, either from the giving of permit, from immigration to custom, you know, down the line, including the companies that are involved. It's not the worker that continues to lament that their jobs have been taken over. I think there's need for us to have a data bank. I believe there might be some other documentation by your committee. But we need a data bank to know the level of convictions, you know, that must have been achieved in this country. Company A has violated, company B has violated. You know, there were cases of even companies that we made reference to in those days that are building refineries, and you see over 100 fitters, you know, brought from outside the country, and it's a problem. And these are high-profile industrialists. The major problem is that these high-profile industrialists are untouchable. When they do it, it's difficult to, you know, bring them to book. The second point is even the issue of implementation of, even when you take them to court and you have court ruling, who enforces it? Is it the police? Is it the custom? Is it the immigration? This overlap, especially jurisdictional overlap, you know, has equally created a challenge which we must both look into. We have had cause to picket and protest, and at the end of the day, these problems are still there. We are at the receiving end. The Nigerian worker is at the receiving end. The Nigerian worker whose job is occupied by an expatriate is at the receiving end. I'm yet to confirm that after 4 years, these jobs, the issue of indigenization comes in. I beg to disagree small, but of course we can do small research into it, that after 4 years, these people are still there. You know, and nobody goes there to knock at their door to say, hey, what are you doing here? You know, your job has finished. Let Nigerians take over. I'm yet to equally confirm that they train Nigerians to take over from them. What has been happening, especially in the food and beverage industry, is like you see foreign companies, if they buy Nigerian breweries, they will buy all the small companies, the one in Uyo, the one in here. So when they buy all of them, they now move expatriates to all those places, and they have total dominance in such sectors. And it's very, very important that we, like I said, we work together. There's a lot of work to be done, sir. You know, I won't deceive you in this particular sector. And then even if we are bringing in the Ministry of Labor, which should be involved, the labor inspectorate officers in Nigeria are no longer functioning. Now, if you give them that role, because these are the people that visit, you know, all those establishments, you know, to find out what is happening, to find out compliance level, you know, of industry owners and practitioners. So since we have those ones that are like a police that move on daily basis, we should be able to collate the reports from them. But when they are compromised, assuming, then it becomes a problem. I know that you can perform your oversight function of visiting some of these areas maybe once or twice in the whole process. You can't even visit 10% of the organizations concerned, and maybe if you are going, you know, they will not come to work on those days. And the document filed to determine the manning level at which Nigerians come in is not the main document, sir. You know, if a document is given to Minister of Minister of Trade, for instance, go and check it. It's different from reality. And these are areas that you, by your busy schedule, can be chasing to know the document that was given there and the document that is there. So we need, you know, a level, a cadre that will monitor this and report back. As we talk now, it's not the immigration. Those ones at times operate at the ports of entry. It's not custom. They operate at the port of entry. But even at that, if we are very effective at the point of entry there, we can stop them, because you must indicate where you are going and what you are going to do. But these ones are licensed, and we must equally know whom you are. Why do you bring janitor? You know, people that clean toilets as expatriates into this country, and this has been happening day in, day out. I don't want to go into polemics or playing to the gallery, sir, but I'm giving the commitment of the labor movement that we have been like the only voice crying in the wilderness. And with you, with the enthusiasm, you know, and the energy you have shown, I believe that we can work to save this country from this calamity. Because while we are crying that there's no job, and actually there's no job, you see expatriates, you know, even to worsen it, if you even have those expatriates at the same level, grade level with Nigerians, they earn double. You have discrimination in salary administration, even in such sectors in your own country. So you start to wonder, you can't even call it apartheid, because you are being discriminated by a foreigner in your own country. So it's not even an equal treatment to a foreigner and to a Nigerian. So all these things we have to look into them, sir, and see how far we can manage them to the benefit of this country. But this is deeper than what we are looking at. You know, it has gone far, and I believe that with what I'm seeing from the Senate Committee on local content, you know, we can achieve more. A lot of work is being done by the local content policy in the oil and gas, you know, but I don't think equally the law alone, either offshore or onshore, you know, has been able to just abolish it. The law itself cannot abolish it except you move in to make sure that it's implemented. Yes, some of the companies are now Nigerian companies, you know, that are taking over, but you know, we are not yet there, you know, and I think we need to work further, sir, and look at other sectors that we don't even expect people to bring in. These foreigners, they are here, you know, and if we do this, we'll be solving a lot of problem. We'll be solving the problem of capital flight, because the monies raised from these areas equally move to other clients. You know, some people collect their salary in foreign currency up there, and then there is no input here. It's not like when a Nigerian earns salary, what he will do with it. You know, so I want to thank you and commend you to promise you that the Nigerian Labour Congress, at any point in time, will work with you to assist us. Because this is to assist us, you know, and it's important we understand it. Various unions within the NLC, by the time they send their reports now, we'll push it to you so that you know the data of our people there and see how deep we have been passing through this problem. So it's you that is coming to assist us. Although you are on a national assignment, but if we solve this problem, you know, it will be beneficial to our country, it will be beneficial to the NLC and its members, and it will be beneficial to you, that you beat your chest that during your time you were able to resolve this intractable challenge that we have had over the years. So once again, let me welcome you and thank you and say we are ready to work with you. God bless you.
Thank you.